Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with an update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows project. I know it's only been just over 2 weeks from filming it, at least, since I uploaded my last update, and that is because I've actually done really well and I think it's time to roll in some new shades, which is why I didn't wait the full month to do this update. So without further ado, I'm going to start with the eyeshadows. I'm going to start with my C palette. So in here I have 2 shades that I've been working on, and I'm going to insert the picture of the first one, which is a Taupe shade from the Wet n Wild palette. I think it's Walking on Eggshells. I've heard someone say it could be Silent Treatment last time, but I'm not sure. I should probably Google that before filming this update, but it's either one or two of those. And I'm going to insert the picture where I was last time. So when filming my last update, I said this was going to be the shade that I was most likely going to hit pan on, and I did not disappoint because I do have a little bit of pan in this eyeshadow, which is really exciting. So this actually was the first shade I did hit pan on. Spoiler alert, because that means I haven't only hit pan on one. You'll see that in a second. So that is the first shade I hit pan on, and I was really excited to do so. These pans are, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see, but these pans aren't very deep at all, so it goes quite quickly before you hit pan. But I still had this in for 2 months because I hadn't really used this much at all. It is a beautiful shade. I feel like it's getting a little bit old, so it is a little bit more powdery, or maybe that was the way was from the start. It's just that I found better eyeshadows nowadays. But it is a beautiful shade, and I'm really excited to have pan on it now. But I'm also really excited to pull in a new shade for it. As I have done before, I'm going to insert pictures of some looks that I have worn over the last kind of 2 weeks in this case at the end of this video. So if you want to see which looks I included in, stay tuned for the end. But that is the first shade I hit pan on. So moving on to the second shade I had in the palette, or that I've been working on from the palette, and that is the Makeup Geek shade, and the shade is Mango Tango. Again, I'm going to insert the picture where I was last time. And you guys, I have another pan. This is where I am today. So as you can see, comparing it to the Wet n Wild shade, can you see how much deeper these pans are? I do have quite a big dip, and I do have pan as well, as you can see, but it goes kind of like, it's not super narrow. I mean, it's still quite narrow, but I'm really happy. I've been using this mainly as a crease color. I'm actually wearing this as a crease color today. I just wanted to include it in another look. A majority of my shadows I'm wearing today are for my Project Pan, except of one, which is kind of like the shade I have in my outer corners, which I believe is from MAC, and I think this is Cranberry. Pretty sure, and that is the shade that I have on my outer corners. Otherwise, the main kind of reddish corally shade that you're seeing is this one. But yeah, I love this shade. I got really tired of it for a while, but I'm really excited to have pan on it. I think I'm gonna miss it after a while because it is a beautiful shade, and it has been perfect to wear for summer, so it was a really good shade to pull in when I did. But I'm really excited to have pan on it now. So that's 2 shades that I have done now. The next palette I have is this one right here, which is my Naked palette. I have had this in for quite a few months now because I was working on a different shade first, which was Half Baked, but then I pulled in Sin after, I think the same update where I pulled it out actually. But I'm going to insert the picture where I was with Sin last month. And that is where I am today. So I do not have pan on this shade, unfortunately, but I do have quite a big dip going. You can compare it to Half Baked, which I do have pan on. And this one obviously isn't as deep, but I can finally see a dip form, which is really cool. I think that I will probably be able to hit pan on this for next update. It is a really beautiful shimmery shade. It is what I'm wearing all over my lids today, and it's beautiful. I'm actually wearing it as an inner corner highlight as well. I did mix it today a little bit with Virgin to make it a little bit lighter, as I have this all over the lid as well. But on an everyday basis, if I want an inner corner highlight, I do choose this one quite often because this is a beautiful inner corner highlight, and it's very reflective as well. Yeah, I'm happy to continue working on this. I haven't had it in for too long, so I don't really mind it. And yeah, it is a beautiful shade. So, and also I'm really happy to finally get some kind of wear out of my Naked palette, because it's definitely, I think it's my oldest palette in my collection. So yeah, it's just really exciting to get some more progress on it, but I'm going to continue working on it. So speaking of Naked palettes, we're going to move on to the next Naked palette, which is the Naked 3. And the shade I've been working on in this one is called Strange, and I'm going to insert the picture where I was last time. So this shade is just basically a setting shade. It's quite light, so it has been a bit harder to use for the last couple of months, but this is where I am today. So I did hit pan on this one as well. I'm gonna try not to blind you with the mirror. Yeah, you can see it right there. Dip in this is very wide, since I did use quite a big fluffy brush in it. Brush I mainly used with this is this one, so you can see it's quite big and fluffy. And I used that to set my eyeshadow, which is why the dip is quite large. I think that's also why it took me quite a long time to hit pan, although I use this most days of the week. So that is another pan that I've hit over the last 2 weeks. And yeah, I'm just really excited to have pan in this palette as well, because I do love this palette. It's quite like, I feel like a lot of people have very mixed opinion on it, because it does create quite a like similar look every time you use it, if that makes sense, or like a very monochromatic look, because all the shades are in the same tone. But I actually really like these shades, and I do like the look that I create every time I use this. It's just that I probably couldn't pan this palette as I pan the palette or something, because I feel like all shades would be very rosy toned, and I think I would get bored after a while. But otherwise, I love this palette, and I've been really happy to use it, although I mainly use the Strange shade. So this last palette that I have is this one right here, which is the one that I pulled in last time, and this one is the Mar palette from ColourPop. And obviously I'm going to insert the picture where I was with this shade when I started. I hadn't touched this shade, I think I swatched it, but that's it, because this is quite a new palette to me and I haven't really had time to play with my ColourPop palettes. So I'm really happy that I pulled this in. And you guys, this is where I am today. I managed to hit pan on this in 1 month. Granted, this is a very kind of flaky shade. It's beautiful though. I created so many looks with this, and I was really happy to incorporate this one. And I think incorporating this one was the main reason that I hit pan on the Mango Tango shade, because pairing those two together was just beautiful. And I feel like this shade kind of toned down the colorfulness of it, and it didn't, I don't know, it just, because this one is like a warm brown, it made it seem more like the Mango Tango shade was like a warm toned transition shade rather than a bright kind of coral. So yeah, I hit pan on this one as well. And the funny thing is, I was doing my makeup. I was actually traveling at my parents' house. It was last week, so when filming this I got back a week ago, so it was just over a week. I actually hit pan on this shade, the Mango Tango shade, and the Limit shade in the same day when doing the same eye look, which is mad. I can't believe I did that. I actually, yeah, I don't know, I hit pan on them all at the same time, which is crazy. So I was really excited then, and that's kind of what I decided, that once I'm back I do have to film this update, because I can't stay with this project just having one shade to work on, which again is the shade from the Naked palette. So crazy update, 4 pans out of 5 in like 2 weeks and a little bit, especially since I hit pan on them a week ago. I think I hit pan on them like on the 18th or 19th, and I think I posted my video on the 9th, so it was like under 2 weeks until I hit pan on all of those shades, which is crazy. But yeah, it's time to roll in some new shades, so let's just pull up my phone. So I still have 32 palettes in my collection, so I'm just gonna actually raise my brightness because you couldn't see anything there. I'm gonna put in those shades. So what I do is I actually randomize the palette first, and then I randomize the color, because I don't have all my shades in a spreadsheet, so that's what I do. So I'm just going to randomize from 1 to 32. We have 27, which is the ColourPop Through My Eyes palette. So here we have the ColourPop Through My Eyes palette. Again, this is a new one in my collection. I haven't used this at all. I only swatched this as well, so I'm really excited to pull a shade from this one. And there is 16 shades. This is actually number 1 and this is number 16. I'm just holding it upside down because it's easier for me to cover the mirror. But I'm just going to go and randomize from 1 to 16. So the shade that we get is number 16, which I actually lied before because I'm going to hold it up straight now. So number 1 is actually this one and number 16 is actually this one. So that is called Missbehave. So there we have Missbehave. It's again kind of a reddish shade, but this is definitely more burgundy compared to Mango Tango, which I had in my project for the last couple of months. This one is definitely on the more burgundy side compared to the coral one. So that is the first palette. Let's randomize my second one. So 1 to 32 again. We get number 27, which again is through my eyes, so let's just keep with this palette. Can't believe I did that, but that's really good because then I can work on the same palettes more. So again, from 1 to 16 then. And obviously if I get 16 again, I'm just going to pull again, but 1 to 16, we got number 2. And number 2 is actually a shade that I'm really excited about. It's this yellow shade right there. And it's called Wild Soul. So there you have it. The shade is called Wild Soul. So now we're going to put this to the side and hopefully I don't get any more shades on this. So that's the first palette. So again, 1 to 32, we get number 14. So you guys must think I only have a few palettes because number 14 is my Naked Free palette. Promise you I have 32, so I don't know why I keep getting the same ones, but that's okay. And again, this is the palette. There is 12 shades in this, so I'm just going to go through 1 to 12. And we get number 6. Number 6 in the palette is this one right here, which is Trick, I think. Yes, Trick, which is this golden shade. So there we have Trick swatched out. I actually think that was really good color to get with the other two. I really like it, but that is the third shade. So the last palette we get is number 32. And number 32 is the ColourPop Give It To Me Straight palette. So the ColourPop Give It To Me Straight palette looks like this. Again, I haven't really used it. I picked up all my ColourPop palettes, almost all of them. I think I had 2 of them before, but the rest of them I picked up quite a few. So this is the palette. I haven't used this at all either. So again, we have 12 shades, so I'm going to randomize one. So 1 through to 12, then let's randomize. We get number 10. So number 10 in the palette is this shade right here. It's kind of like a burgundy shade called Be Blunt. So that is the 4th shade that I randomized. It's quite a dark black and burgundy. It's usually not the type of shimmer that I usually go for, but I'm gonna play around with it, maybe pair it with that one to get it a bit lighter. That is the 4th shade I randomized. And just to have all of the shades, I also have the Sin shade from Naked One over there, so that is gonna be my color palette for the next month. So I have 3 looks to share this month, and one thing that I love doing was to pair the bronzy shade from the Mar palette with a few different kind of alternate colors, or like pop of color in some way. The first look I have right here is one of my absolute favorites that I created over the last 2 weeks. So I paired it with a Makeup Geek shade, and this one is right here, and it's called Jester. It's like a greenish color, and I love it. I actually been really leaning towards green looks recently. I feel like everyone is, but I just recently got onto the train of green looks, and I love how I did it in this look with kind of like a subtle like partly green. I love how it came out, and I think this is the perfect way for me to wear green for every day. So yeah, I really love how this look came out, and I also think it made my eyes pop, which is really nice. So in this look I am wearing I can't remember what I used in the crease, but I think I just used like my bronzer or the Tristan shade in the Mar palette, and then I used the bronzer shade from Mar palette, can't remember what it's called now, but the one that I hit pan on this month, all over my lid, or like halfway through the lid. And then in my inner corners I used the green shade, used to kind of make it pop a little bit. I also used the same bronzy shade underneath my lash line. And then for the second look we have is kind of similar. In this look though I use the yellowish gold shade from Makeup Geek. It's also one of their foiled eyeshadows. And this one is in Fortune Teller right here. So I used this one, and I also used the Mango Tango shade in my crease. So I used that one in my crease, and then I used the bronzy shade kind of on the outside and inside. So I create like a halo eye, but like a subtle one. And then I popped the gold shade in the kind of middle part of my lids. I love how this came out as well. I also used the Sin shade in my inner corners again, and I used Adore It. I think this again is a very nice kind of everyday shade, and using those kind of like pop of colors, because if you look in my palette right here, they're right here, and I mean they're not super bright colors, but they still are like pops of colors, and I feel like using them like that really helped me to get variation into my looks. So I loved doing that this last month, and that is just 2 examples. And then the third look is a very standard look for me for like the last 2 months, I guess. and that is using kind of like a brown. I think I used my bronzer in this case. I used my bronzer as a transition shade, and then again I used the bronzy shade from ColourPop Mar. As you can see, I've been focusing on this quite a lot, and I used that all over my lid, and then I topped it with a lightning bug shade from ColourPop again in the Super Shock Shadows formula, because as you know I've been trying to pan that one as well, and that is just like an everyday look. I think I was really hungover on this day actually, not sure if you can tell, but yeah, I was a little bit. That has been my go-to look where I can't really be bothered to do proper eye makeup, if that makes sense, but I still obviously want to work on my shadows. So yeah, that is the last look that I have to share. And that, you guys, was all for this update. I really hope you enjoyed it, and hope you are happy with my progress, because I certainly am. I'm really proud of myself to be able to hit the pan on 4 shades in less than like 2 weeks. But anyway, if you haven't seen the rest of these videos, please check out my playlist. I will leave it down below. And otherwise, I hope you're having the best of days, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye guys!